evening, everyone. We begin tonight keeping them honest on bullying in America. Yet again, another teen has taken his own life, according to his parents, after being bullied for years. A 14-year-old boy this time. Time and time again on this program, we've reported on the problem of bullying in this country, and time again, we've announced the deaths of children. Children who should not be dead.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going.
My friends have gotten names called out of cars at them. I know that you hear "that's so gay," you know, "stop being a faggot." You hear all of those around campus, so that's like fairly common.
There was one case where a friend of mine was walking down the street right down Bell, and so I passed her by. I don't remember what exactly had been said, but it deeply affected her on a base level. I know it involved both her race and I believe the word dyke was used.
Most students in some ways seem like just generally a little socially conservative, but I don't know if that's true or if it's just kind of like what you get in the classroom, you know? Like people seem not like intolerant, but just like, yeah, a little socially conservative. So
I see Worcester as relatively high on the paradigm. I think that we have a relatively open campus that, while some of the community could be more visible, they're not being oppressed. This year we also have Iceman House, which is sponsored by Spectrum, which is a safe zone. That's the primary program, as a safe zone, and to work with members of the high school community as well. So if there's any issue, regardless of where it may lie, it's always open to go to the house and talk to somebody there.
Spectrum, which is a mix of advocacy and social groups. Besides like their regular meetings, they've got, you know, it's like social hour / come and talk to us about your problems. Like support group. They have support group on Tuesdays, which is a lot of fun.
Cool. I mean, I think that's great to kind of build that kind of like a safe space, but also like a really visible space. I think doing both those things together is kind of, you know, creating a safe space for the students, but also kind of opening up a little space on sort of in campus and in the student sort of awareness.
Filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression.
Obviously, like I made that joke earlier, I think, you know, sort of something ironic about that. I'm saying, like, you know, it's okay to bully if you're Christian, or like Christian bullying's okay. But it's like in some ways, even like the debate around that law and that like somebody could attach that provision to the law, it kind of evidences to me the inadequacy of those rules in the first place. You know, banning things doesn't make them go away. They're missing an opportunity to do something sort of more long-term and more creative and engaged with, like, how do we create cultures in our schools where people feel excited to be there, where they feel supported, where their needs as like students and as people in the world are being met in multidimensional ways. I think creating kind of like zero tolerance punishment policies don't do anything to change our culture and the ways that we like know how to interact with each other. Like the coverage around bullying is a good reminder that we still have lots of kind of forms of violence and oppression around gender and sexuality. But I also think the discourse around the bullying stuff and the suicide stuff is too narrow. And I think the ways that it's narrow kind of limits how politically useful and transformative it can be, but also like dealing with oppression around sort of sexuality or gender doesn't do things like erase poverty or erase racism, erase sexism, and these kinds of things. So I think like the bullying discourse would be more productive if it was engaged with like a broader view of the kinds of challenges that youth in general face in the US and the ways that things like sexuality and gender oppression intersect with things like racism and poverty and all this kind of stuff.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out out places, worn out.